What's going on, Lions fans? Welcome back in. Detroit Done 313 with Steve and Will. Well, I got to tell you something. You must have thought I forgot. All right. You must have thought I forgot about some things. The swimsuit picture while I was in Florida. You must have thought I
Oh,
didn't notice that. You must have thought I didn't notice that comment about me being the little brother that you didn't want and just kind of hanging around. Like I see things. I see things. I, I am the all-knowing. So what I have done is I have infiltrated the Ford family. I have taken
oh
over. All
boy.
right. I have in the Perkins name, there is I sit on the top. I'm the top dog. Right. I don't know what the hierarchy is in the Ford family, but I have to assume Mama Ford is pretty high up there. And
Mm, mm,
you had told
mm.
me you had told me a long time ago about a story that your mom makes a spaghetti that's pretty mean and it made a little
Right,
differently. And me
right.
being a pasta lover myself, I had to infiltrate and
Huh.
me and Mama Ford are going to go to dinner at her house and maybe I'll bring a nice glass of wine and maybe she'll tell me some stories and share some home videos is what I'm really trying to get at. I'm trying to get little Will on camera, but enough of that little segue into Detroit Den 313 episode today. So what are we talking today, Will?
Listen, first things first, Mom, you watch these. I'm not even gonna bother sending a call or a text. We need to have a sit down conversation. I'm not working today. After we get off of here, we're gonna have a sit down conversation about where your loyalties lie because this is unacceptable
Money
behavior.
talks.
Anyway,
Money talks.
anyways, there's a few different things, man, that we got on docket today. First, man, I think it's asking you shall receive at Detroit Den 313. So none other than the Timothy Patrick getting a deal done with the Detroit Lions, man. Steve, Timothy Patrick, how you feeling about it?
I'm trying to find the details on the numbers, but the signing I love, bringing back our offense, keeping it consistent, keeping it the same. A lot of people are worried about, is the offense going to be vanilla? I don't think the offense is going to be vanilla. We got a new play caller. We're going to be just fine. But this happened literally as we were sitting down to record. So off the top of my head, I don't have the numbers on the deal. I am looking as we talk. So if I find anything, I'll let you know. But how do you feel about it?
Yeah, same thing. Haven't got the numbers yet. I'm assuming it's probably going to be a 1 year deal. That's me guessing. Again, guys, have not seen the numbers, but I love it, man. He's a guy that obviously wanted to be here. He's a guy that fits our locker room. He knows the system already. Again, Coach Morton has already stated he's not planning to add a bunch of new stuff. He's just going to put his sauce on what he was a part of building with this offense. So him at three. You ask Steve all the time about having these guys that are 6'4", 6'5" outside at that X receiver. He's going to be able to deliver that. Timothy, I haven't seen you go up in high point footballs and use your big, long 6'5" frame. Maybe we'll see more of that. But when I looked at the statistics, man, he didn't have a crazy statistical season last year, but I feel like he started building a rapport with Jared Goff while the season was going, man. They didn't hit the ground running, so to speak. I think they'll be able to hit the ground running coming up into this upcoming season. It's something that I'm excited for. I'm excited to see what his role is. Let's go. Timothy Patrick, welcome back to Detroit, baby.
Um, yeah, I think this is a good signing, and we talked about him yesterday, so we're not going to beat up the topic too much. But I think that this picture just speaks volumes. All right, this is the only team he wanted to play with. This is the only team he wanted to get a deal done with. So, he missed 2 seasons of football his last 2 years in Denver, and when he came to Detroit, we had some questions about him. How much rust is going to be on the body, getting used to coming back and playing in the NFL after 2 seasons being off. It took him a little bit to get acclimated, but I think toward the end of the season is when he really started to kind of blossom and get comfortable, maybe get his legs underneath him, getting back into some football, actual game shape. It took a little bit of time, but at the end of the season, I thought Tim Patrick was playing some good football for us. So it looks like our offense is set. I would assume even with the loss of Zeitler, we're just going to plug Mahogany in there. So our offense is pretty set. So I think the question mark is still on the defensive side of the football. So I'm happy to have Tim Patrick back. We can close the book on Cooper Kupp. I don't think that's going to happen anymore. But I'll tell you this, last thing about Timothy Patrick, nobody really talks about how well he blocks. All right. I don't think he cares if he gets a single catch or even a single target in the game. I think he likes blocking. That's hard to find in wide receivers. And Dan Campbell's rule, no block, no rock. So I think his blocking is very underrated. I think it springs spring some big plays for us, and not a lot of people really dissect the wide receiver blocking like we do here at Detroit Den 303. We're intricate. All right, we look at everything. We look at how you tie your cleats. We look at how you do your warm ups. We look at everything, especially when it comes to football time. So I think one of the most underrated blocking wide receivers for sure on this team, and that's just kind of his role.
I don't know. I think the most underrated,
but
yeah, J-Mo, man. J-Mo's 63 pounds, man. So the fact that he's out there blocking his butt off, man, it's impressive to me, man. I love it. It's one of the things that Brad Holmes had mentioned about him when he drafted him, and I was kind of like, I don't know, but he does, man. He gets out there and gets after it, man. That's a guy who historically played special teams in college football, man. Was down there flying around as a gunner, making tackles. So again, we draft football players here in Detroit, man, and I love the signing. But segueing into another signing, Steve, that I feel like I'm not going to say crazy controversial, but there is a couple people that have made comments about this signing and maybe what it alludes to moving forward for the Detroit Lions. So none other than Kyle Allen being picked up by the Detroit Lions, veteran quarterback. Last day was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Before that, I can't remember. I know he's been with like the Carolina Panthers, Washington Commanders. Like he's bounced around the league a little bit. Yeah, he's bounced around the league, veteran guy. What do you think that this means for the Detroit Lions picking up somebody like that?
Listen, I was pretty surprised when this happened. Not late last night, but after we had got done recording our episode last night, it happened. And I don't know. I started seeing, are the Detroit Lions trading Hendon Hooker for that number 1 overall pick, William? Because, Titans need a quarterback. That's what I'm seeing on Twitter. So it has to be true, right? Like we're moving up in the draft. We're going to swap ones and give Hendon Hooker, and we're going to get the number 1 overall pick. Do you think that that's something? I can't know. I'm joking, guys. We are not trading up for the number 1 pick because of Hendon Hooker, but it does make me question his future with this team, William. So how do you feel, and what do you think that Kyle Allen, who has just as many touchdowns in the NFL as I do, how does it make you feel about Hendon Hooker's future with the Lions?
I honestly think it has no relevance to Hendon Hooker's future, man, with the Detroit Lions, because I don't think that we're going to Kyle Allen if something happens to Jared Goff. I think he's a veteran quarterback who's been around the league, who can come into training camp and keep things going and compete for a job. I believe we still have guys like Jake Fromm, and we still have connections with Teddy Bridgewater. This is, again, getting a veteran guy in here to compete, be a pro's pro, run scout teams, and then maybe he makes the team, maybe he doesn't as a emergency quarterback. We'll see. But I don't think that this is a guy who's here to take Hendon Hooker's job. I think Hendon Hooker's fate is based upon the numbers, right? And when he'll be a free agent and when Jared Goff will be a free agent. 2029 for Jared Goff, 2027 for Hendon Hooker. Those are the reasons why I think Hendon Hooker may get a deal done to go somewhere else. Just really wouldn't make sense to me for Hendon Hooker to leave the Detroit Lions to go compete for a starting job somewhere and us never get anything for him. It just doesn't make sense. So either Brad is going to get Hendon Hooker into the mix this year. By get him into the mix, I mean give him a strong preseason opportunity again, as well as potentially be on deck throughout the season in case something happens with Jared Goff. If he gets an opportunity, he does. If he doesn't, so be it. As well as, right, get an opportunity to see him through camp again. If Brad Holmes is really thinking about Hendon Hooker as a guy who could take the Lions, after Jared Goff goes by, then he's going to start to get a look at him this season. If he doesn't believe that, I think he gets dealt. I'm truly leaning towards Hendon Hooker getting dealt somewhere. It's my guess. It's not something that I've heard. Now, I have heard teams are interested. I have heard that, but it's my guess, not because of anything that's been rumored. It's just my guess that Hendon Hooker gets dealt on draft day. I think the board's going to fall how the board's falling. People aren't going to be able to get their Jackson Darts or whoever else they're after, that third quarterback or fourth quarterback. Somebody's going to get left, oddball out. Then they're going to say, man, let me go get Hendon Hooker to compete for a job for my team. So that's what I believe. I don't think that Kyle Allen is like going to be the answer to that either way. I think it'll be somebody else if we're moving a different direction. So, Steve, am I on point, or you think I'm crazy? What you thinking?
You know what I've been doing the last couple of days, William, is trying to put together a realistic scenario and a trade package for Hendon Hooker. All right. And again, I don't think that Kyle Allen has taken the number 2 job. And when I said he has as many touchdowns in the NFL as me, I meant the last 2 seasons. I know he started some games for Carolina. He started a couple for Buffalo a couple years ago, but Kyle Allen to me is just he's just a dude on a football team. I don't think he's going to get any reps with Detroit. I know that's Jared Goff's job, but worst case scenario, I'm still leaning Hendon Hooker. It would probably be my backup quarterback in the regular season, but if we bring in Teddy Bridgewater, I don't know. But if we build this Detroit Lions defense the right way, you could have you and me back there at quarterback. It won't matter. We could just make it absolutely nasty. All I got to do is turn around, hand the ball off to Jahmyr Gibbs. Hey, it's pretty easy. It's like drawing up plays for Michael Jordan if I was Phil Jackson. It's not hard to do. But do I think Hendon Hooker has potential? Yes. Do I think he has some value in this draft? Yes. So when I go to the 3rd round and just start looking at teams who might need a quarterback, and I'm leaving off the Browns, the Titans, and the New York Giants because we don't know what's going to happen in those first 5 picks of the NFL draft. So I'll assume that one of those teams don't need a quarterback, but I could still take a look at in the 3rd round, maybe a team like New Orleans, maybe a team like the Jets who have pick 73, maybe a team like the Cardinals. Are they going to be keeping Kyler Murray around? I don't know. A team like the Colts, there's already some controversy there with Anthony Richardson, and they just signed, who did they just sign? They just signed a quarterback.
Danny Dimes.
Danny Dimes, that's right. Would they be willing to trade for Hendon Hooker for the future? The Steelers, like there's teams in the 3rd round that I think if you draft your first 2 picks and then you need a quarterback, you call the Detroit Lions and see what it's going to take for Hendon Hooker and let us get another piece in the top 100 of this draft. So I'm looking at like pick 83 to like 70. There's some teams in there that need a quarterback. So I think that would be the market for Hendon Hooker if we were to trade him somewhere in that vicinity, because in college, he was a stud. Hendon Hooker was a stud. That knee injury kind of crippled the end of his season and the start of his NFL career. He potentially could have been a 1st round pick. I just don't see him getting on the football field for the Detroit Lions. So, and you've said this before, does he want to be 29 years old getting a starting job, or does he want to go somewhere this year and try to learn a system and maybe next year he takes over? I think that would be a good course if I was Hendon Hooker. That might be something I want to look at, because I can't sit here and say, dang, like I'm still 3 years away from starting in Detroit because I have to watch Jared Goff play. I know I'm not getting on the field above him. So I think that would be a good move for Hooker. It'd be a good move from another team to give up a 3rd round pick, get your starting quarterback, not too risky. You can see what happens. And there's plenty of other teams that are out there, but I just don't see Hendon Hooker having a future with the Lions. After we re-signed Jared Goff last year, I thought the writing was kind of on the wall. I can't get him on a football field unless Jared Goff gets hurt, and nobody wants that. So I think it's just a matter of time. I do think he'll get dealt sometime this offseason, and I could be wrong, but that's just what my gut's telling me.
Yeah, same, man. We're in the same boat, man. With Hendon Hooker, I think we also have to remember, too, the NFL is a fraternity, right? And he doesn't work for a bad organization, meaning this is a player's organization. This is an organization that wants to see guys get opportunities. I look at somebody like Isaiah Williams. Isaiah Williams was a guy that we could have kept on our special teams and kept him active every week. No, we put him on the practice squad, and we allowed other teams who we knew could potentially be vying for him. We let him go, make some money, and get on somebody's active roster. I believe that at some point, Brad Holmes, Coach Campbell, they're going to sit down and have a conversation with Hendon Hooker. And I'm sure Hendon Hooker, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you're a true competitor, you're not going to want to sit around and be a backup if you feel like you could be starting in the league, or at least that you're good enough to get an opportunity. So I believe that Hendon Hooker, no different than my son, is probably tugging at them coattails. Like, can I? Hey, man, can I go get a shot somewhere else? No disrespect to you guys. I really appreciate what you've done, but I don't want to be 87 years old when I get my first shot. So with all of that said, we got to do what makes sense. What makes sense? Hey, this is a business, Hendon. I got to get something. I'm not just going to give you to some other team. I got to get something in return. So there's going to be negotiations had. We're going to figure out what's best for the Detroit Lions, what's the best thing that we can get back, and then he's going to go get an opportunity somewhere, man. And I am going to be looking forward to seeing him get his opportunity. I'm not going to say that I'll be cheering for him because, once you're no longer a Detroit Lion, it's just one of those things. But I will be looking forward to him actually getting an opportunity because I hate to see people with talent just, sitting around not getting an opportunity to use those God-given gifts. So that said, I feel like Hendon Hooker for those reasons will be dealt, man, and it just kind of is what it is. Nothing against him. I think he's a decent football player.
Yeah, just let me get a top 100 pick for him. Like, we'd have essentially 4 picks in the top 100. I know we have pick 102. Fucking close enough. All right, give me a break. What else we got today, Will?
Listen, Steve. There's been somebody in Detroit that has been deemed a bust by a lot of people. And no, I'm not talking about Broderick Martin, but there's been somebody else, I should say, in that token that has been deemed a bust, a first-round guy. I'm hearing things like Jeff Okudah being tossed around Twitter, man. Like, after one season, don't know what's going on. But I'm not in that boat at all, man. I feel like that our man that's deemed himself a superstar coming into this upcoming season is going to take a step forward. Now, is it going to be that huge step forward that some people are saying? I don't know. But I do think that he is going to take a step forward because I love what he does at 80% of football plays. It's that last 20% that got a little weird and a little grabby and a little penalty worthy sometimes warranted, sometimes unwarranted. But when you get a reputation for doing things, sometimes they might throw it a little quicker because they've been watching the film and preparing for the games too. But our boy TA, he's been putting in some work. He's been doing more than buying $100,000 worth of steaks at Sexy Steaks in Detroit. I don't know if you guys seen his rookie meal, but it was $120,000. Wow. But yeah. he's been doing more than spending money. My boy has been working.
Oh yeah. Come on. Stop playing. Trigger. Yeah. Go. Oh yeah. Go. Oh yeah. Go now. Yeah, that's it. Cross. Go. Turn. Okay. Speed. Hit. Oh yeah. Stop. Nice, D. Got that one. Go, pump. Now.
Listen. There's only one other guy that I've seen hip swivel like that, and that's Steve's on the dance floor. He gets
maybe on a golf course. I can really let the hips open up on a golf course and just slice a ball a mile. If we're being honest.
How do you feel about how TA's looking out there, man? You think he's looking good? How you feeling?
If there's anyone out there that calls him a bust after 1 year, I just question if football is really like something that you're really into or you really understand. Like, it might be time to find a new hobby, like, I don't know, Mario Kart, like a video game, maybe get into like puzzles or something. Because if you think Terrion Arnold's a bust, I would politely ask you to stop watching the game of football, because I think it's the hardest position to learn. All right. And the NFL is the most one-sided referee show in the world. The offense is always going to get the penalties, unless you're the Detroit Lions, who had the least amount of pass interferences called for us in the NFL last season. But Terrion Arnold, he just got thrown into the waters last year. Like, hey, man, you're a first-round pick. We need a corner. We need a starting corner. Go out there, sink or swim. Sometimes you're going to sink. Sometimes you're going to swim. At the early part of the season, it looked a little rough, and I was thinking, man, dude, did we draft Tease Tabor again? Like, I had some questions in the beginning, but I understood that he was getting some penalties called on him. That some of them were legit, and some of them were like, come on, ref, let him play, like you said. But he wasn't ever out of position. All right. He made some quarterbacks throw some perfect passes, and that's what quarterbacks do. Like, these guys get paid $50 to $60 million a year to go out there and make these perfect passes, and they do it at a high level. So Terrion Arnold, I don't think he ever got burnt. He never was. He was maybe out of position a handful of times. It happens, miscommunications. The NFL is hard to play. All right. I've never done it myself, but when you're going up against the best receivers in the NFL every year compared to, college, where, you might have a couple layup games against, some non-conference opponents. But when you come to the NFL, these guys are doing it for a living. When you're guarding Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, and the Chicago Bears had a good receiving core last year, and so did the Green Bay Packers, and like all the other teams we played against had some studs as wide receivers. And I thought Terrion Arnold played well. I'm not going to say he's, Darrelle Revis or anything, but I don't need him to be. I even told you this off camera a couple of days ago. I said, don't let Terrion Arnold take a big step in year 2. Don't let him take a massive step forward. With the signing of DJ Reed and Amik Robertson coming back. Don't let Terrion Arnold be that CB, if you want to call it CB3, and he's a nickel and he's absolutely locking people up. Good luck, because there ain't going to be much to get on the outside with our 2 corners that we just got. So I definitely hate the word bust. I don't think Terrion Arnold is even in that category. How do you feel about him, Will?
Hey, listen, 2025 is going to be the year that Lank comes to the NFL. And that's a Terrion Arnold, Jalen Milroe thing. Let a naysayer know. This is going to be the season that he's going to let all the naysayers know. He's going to come out. He's going to produce this season. He's going to take a step forward. Now, are we talking about him being Sauce Gardner? I don't know about that. Now, he's saying that he wants to go down with a gold jacket and all of this stuff. I don't know if this is going to be the season for that. But I do think that we are going to see him get exponentially better, man. I think that it's going to be, because corners are one of those positions that do it. They got to feel it out their first year. These receivers are different in the NFL. They're different than what you've seen. And I know he played against some good competition out there at Bama while he was in college, but there's a difference between the NFL and college football. Somebody asked Derrick Henry, and it's always one that stood out to me, because Derrick Henry is, if you want to say, a man amongst boys everywhere he goes. When you look at him stiff arm some of these NFL dudes, he looks like he's a creative player just pushing around children. They asked Derrick Henry, hey, man, you've always been the biggest dude on the field. How was it when you got from college to the NFL? Did you still feel like, man, you were a beast out there? He goes, there's men out here in the NFL. It's different. It's a completely different physicality out here in the NFL. So listen, the speed of the game, the physicality, everything is different in the NFL. Terrion Arnold was dealing with that and learning that last year. He's going to hit the ground running this year, knowing what to prepare for all offseason. I'm excited for it. And not only him, I'm also excited for Ennis Rakestraw. Ennis Rakestraw has said it. His body's healthy. He's ready to go. This could be a deep secondary of guys who can start. I haven't given up on the option of, in the NFL draft, us getting a safety. If we get a safety / hybrid position, nickel corner, to come in and play that nickel corner position, we could potentially have a secondary with guys on the bench who are starting caliber. Imagine if Ennis Rakestraw is who they think Ennis Rakestraw is, and he's on the bench. Imagine if we draft somebody that is of high quality and they can't sniff the field, because you got TA on one side, you got DJ Reed on the other side. Excuse me. You got whoever wins that nickel position, probably Amik Robertson on the inside. You got Brian Branch in the back. You got Kirby Joseph.
Problem,
Man. So we're the days of guys like Kendall Vildor coming into the game are done in Detroit. And as sad as I am, because I don't know on a bad day who I'm going to come on and have a fit about now that he's gone. It's time, man. It's time. Our quality is keep continuing. This roster is inching better and better and better and better with the reserves, starting caliber reserves that could have went somewhere else in the league and started. But no, they've decided to come to the Detroit Lions, be elite special teamers, and compete. 3 facets to this game, guys. You got offense, defense, and then you got special teams. We don't just have great players on our offense and defense. We have great players on our special team. This is going to be a special season. Get ready.
William, I'm just going to tell you, my final thing is I'm just ready for this draft. All right, I'm just ready. We have everything. We brought back pretty much everything we wanted. We could still bring back as a Darius Smith. We know the book's closed on Zeitler, but this draft's just loaded. All right. If that's our secondary, if Ennis Rakestraw, a potential first-round pick who fell to us in the second round, is healthy and playing at a high level when he was playing good football in preseason, and a lot of people were saying that he was outplaying Terrion Arnold, if he's the odd man out for starting, but he's someone who can come in and replace anyone else when they get hurt or if they get hurt, we have a deep, deep secondary. So if we really just beef up this front seven, the defensive line a little bit, or even, if we're in a position where we have a luxury pick and we can take a Jahad Campbell at pick 28 and just make this defense freaky fast and athletic. I don't know how the Detroit Lions give up 24 points a game when we're going to be out there scoring 35. It's going to be tough to beat us. So for everyone who still panics, I don't know. Just have a little patience. I'm not going to beat up that dead horse anymore, but there's still a lot of talent out there, and most of it's in the draft, and that's where Brad Holmes absolutely shines. So I can't wait for, April 24th? So what are we like six weeks away from the draft? It's coming close, and we're going to start diving back into some prospects here soon. Doing some prospect profiles. You got anything else for today, Will?
I do. Guys, we hit that 10K. We
Yeah.
hit that 10K. The giveaway is coming. Steven said top half of next week. I don't know, Monday, Tuesday, whatever. We'll be live. We'll be doing that giveaway. You got to be a subscriber to be in the giveaway. It's going to be crazy. Buckle your seatbelt, strap in like TA is going to be doing all season, and be ready. Make sure you're subscribed so you can be a part of it. That's all I got.
Also, shout out to our 3 new members we got yesterday, P-Rex, Gina, and Joe Hubsher. Hope I'm pronouncing that last name right. Appreciate you. Again, I'm going to put something on the community page. I'm going to let you guys choose if you want a shot at the gift card or the jersey. We'll have some more options for you guys too, but we're going to let our members decide. So think about becoming a member. It's not a requirement, but it's greatly appreciated. We'll figure out that live. I just got to figure out what night Mama Ford's cooking me that spaghetti. Stick around, hit that like button. We'll be back later with another show.